Okay, we are live and unmuted.
Oh no.
For anyone watching an actual play for the first time, or who's an actual play who hasn't performed in actual plays, we may appear like we've got all our stuff together, but it's literally it breaks until the minute you hit go live. But welcome to. It's very sad. It's the last of A Ball to Die For. It is the epilogue.
Hmm.
Over the last 3 weeks, our heroes have performed deeds both mighty and confusing to discover if they are in fact good dogs. Um, as is the habit, introductions around. I'm Ryan. I'm the guide for this all too short story. I'm Comrade Bubbles pretty much everywhere, and I'm a mod, so please do behave. I would hate to have to do something like ban you. Again, just go in alphabetical order of name that I was given. So, Lee, if you want to introduce yourself and your character.
Sure. I am Lee. I play Momo, the mini shepherd, who is a very good girl and loves everyone equally. The only thing I have to promote right now is I have written the opening fiction for community content on the Storyteller Vault. You couldn't find my book that I wrote with other people by Banner Bound. It's a C20 supplement about banner houses for nobility. So it's really cool, and I'm really proud of that fiction. It's one of my favorite pieces I've ever written. You can find me on socials at either at Ipsy or at Scriftly, which is what's written down below. Sorry, I was adjusting lighting, so now I can't tell if my hands are dirty or not. And I have very much enjoyed this journey. This has been so much fun, and I can't wait to do it again.
Okay, alphabet. Rosie. There we go.
Hello, I am Rosie, regular size mom. You can find me on Twitter at mom_sized or on Etsy and a variety of social media platforms as Odd Duck Dice because I make dice because I like to do this all the time. And so I started making dice. You can watch the Mummy game I was in last night on Big Dad Industries. It's already on YouTube, Big Dad Industries YouTube. And we did some things to Rome with the moon, so check that out. It was a lot of fun. Mummy is delightful. And keep an eye on my social media for other things that are coming that I will be participating in. But I don't do any regular streaming at the moment. So I've really loved this with all of these fantastic people. It's always a joy to do something like this. So thank you.
And who are you playing?
Gosh darn it, the character's really important. Cecil Afghan, who is a ratter. She is sneaky and kind of backstabby, but a good dog.
That leaves Tom.
Hey, my name's Tom. You can find me on the socials at Bolthra. That's Bolthra. I am playing Sigmund, and kind of sad I'll be playing Sigmund for the last time. He is an old Pyrenees guardian, and this is kind of his last time out before he probably retires. So you can find me on my gaming channel, Restless Barbarian Gaming. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, and again, really thankful to be joining in this game and looking forward to playing Sigmund this one more time.
Okay, I will just want to point out, obviously, like it is sad. We've had a lot of fun this past, well, it's been 5 weeks because we had this session 0, but the game's going to come out eventually, and they might want promotion for that. So who knows? Yes, those of you who are joining us now, or those of you who have had a week without their Momo fix, Lee has once again kindly volunteered to provide an in-character recap of what's happened so far. So if Momo would like to take it away.
Sorry, I was logging into Twitch because, oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We triumph. We are victorious. We are the heroes of our own story. We succeeded. We found the ball. We found the ball. We found the ball. We found the ball. First I was like, I'm not sure if we can find the ball, but we gotta look. And then oh my gosh, it was so huge. So anyway, what happened was, we found Sigmund, and Sigmund came with us, and we went under the ground, and there was a problem because Sigmund was really big, and I'm not. I'm really small, and I got in easy, and Cecil got in. It was okay, but Sigmund was the trouble because he's so big that we had to grease him up. He was greasy. He was oily Sig and the girls. That's what it was. So we got into the underground under this spoil. That's what it's called. It's called a spoil, which is just basically a bunch of loose rocks that are all just piled together. And we found that there was some man-made pieces, like an altar to man, but also it was bad somehow. I can't figure this out yet. My brain is not braining about that. Anyway, what happened was I sneezed. I sneezed. Yeah, and it was not good because the guards heard us, but we all got in. We had to be quiet, discretion. We had to be discreet. And then we went through the tunnels. We found tunnels and we went through them, and we went in deeper and deeper and deeper into the spoil until we found a me-sized guardian rat looking over cages and a room. There was a big room, and there was cages and a desk, and we found that rats were doing evil things to what they had captured, like rats and maybe squirrels and the people. There was a cat. There's a cat there. I mean, I'm not, cats aren't my favorite thing, but they don't deserve to be. I gotta let them know who's boss, but they don't deserve to be like that, except for my cat, who's baby, who I also found because she has plastic. And so she's very expensive. We are fancy here because my cat, my baby, came with plastic. Anyway, what happened was we fought other people that were not the guardian rats. We snuck, and we left that rat really quietly, and we came out of the mine, and it was not mine. It was someone else's, but it felt like it was mine, but it wasn't. And it was actually the Transylvanian hounds. It was their manor home where they were supposed to hold the ball, the big ball, not the little ball that we were looking for, but another ball. And we were supposed to hold it. And Cecil, oh, font of wisdom that Cecil is. Cecil was like, well, you know what we should do? We should do is, if you get found, you should act like you belong here. And of course I belong here, because wherever I go, there I am. And that's what happened, is we found some rats, and we went there, and and Cecil and Sigmund, who are smarter than me about these sort of things, they were going to be like, okay, we got to be quiet, and we got to be sneaky, and we got to be stealthy, and we got to sneak up on them. And I was like, no, because what we're going to do is, I am Momo. Yes, I am Momo. I am the great fashion designer and the artiste Momo, and I come from the papillons to bring the party. That's what I do. I am Momo. I bring the party. Yes. And they didn't buy it, but that's okay. But I tried. Because I belong. And we fought them. And I told them to eat bolts, you turd. And I shot them. But Sigmund and Cecil, they're way better at fighting than me. And oh, they're such good dogs. They're such good dogs. They're so good. They're so good. Yes, sir. So good. So good. Good dogs. Good dogs. Yeah. And we fought and we won. And we freed the people. And oh, we found the artifact. The rats took it. The rats. I hate those rats. I'm gonna get them. But we fought them, and we killed their leader. We got him. Good. Yeah. I tragically, I am hurt, and I suffer. But I suffer for the cause of being a good girl. And that's it.
Okay, well, the fortune pool is at 3. Reminder, you can spend 1 fortune to reroll any dice at any point that you have rolled. You can't be like, hey, guide, reroll that dice. And we resume where we left off. You are in the apparent rapidly repaired ballroom of the Transylvanian Hounds estate on the hills around Hounton, presumably on near their mines. The corpse of the head rat, who now you have a moment, so now you're not panicking about the relic going off or whatever it was doing. This rat appears to be a white rat, completely albino. The laborers, the construction workers, who presumably were tidying up when the rats jumped them for the ball happening tomorrow, they have taken care of two of the other rats, and I believe, if I recall correctly at least, when their leader died, two of the rats also fled. So the extremely brief atmosphere of violence dies as the wind blows against the makeshift roof above you, and you can see that there are some clouds starting to blow in from kind of the other side of Hounton itself. The construction workers look at the two corpses, unconscious bodies, you can't tell without investigating further, at their feet, and then look to you. And one of them is kind of like big, broad-shouldered, tawny fur, this huge... See, all I can think of is soft mouth, because that's what I was told it is, where, you know, loose lips that constantly drool. I've been told it's because they have like a softer mouth than other dogs.
Jowls?
Yeah, jowls. Sure, why not? Huge jowls. If their family name matches their apparent breed, it would be Mastiff. But in Pugmire, you can adopt, and there's no stigma associated with same-sex relationships, and things of that nature. Your family you take on the name of your family. It is not linked to your breed at all. But they look between kind of the two that the construction workers dealt with, and the one that's kind of crumpled in a boneless pile at the base of the makeshift stage, and kind of bows their head, a gesture of respect. Thank you. We feared we were done for when the rats. And he kind of just kicks at a crossbow that was dropped by one of the ones that fled. They came out of nowhere, and just it all happened so quickly. We have families. We're not pioneers or warriors. We hoped someone would come, but no one is due here for hours yet.
All good dogs protect others.
One of the other dogs, more of a medium-sized dog, shaggy kind of black and white fur, makes a symbol you would associate with the Church of Man, with their paws, and the Mastiff continues. Were there more? Are there more coming?
I mean, there was more, but we tied them up. I don't know if there's any more around the castle, but we can look. We can sure look, because we protect and we attack, and we got your back.
It should be fine for now, but we need to get this back to the Transylvanian hounds, and she's got the bag with the artifact in it. And we'll, on our way, we'll tell the town guard, to come and help do a sweep and a search.
One of the other workers, much smaller dog, kind of the short, wiry fur, brown patches, ears that stick straight up. It's probably a Jack Russell Terrier of some kind. Kind of just looks around. Well, I'm not staying here. I'm gonna go for the guard, and then I'm gonna go for a drink, and then I'm going to and the we'll say foreman for ease of shorthand, that the Mastiff walks over in places like a. This is something that they've obviously done a lot in the past, and it's just a calming like pressure on the shoulder, and the small dog starts to kind of calm down, and the Mastiff looks over at you. We can tell the guard we will not be staying here.
You should go to this melting pot and tell them we sent you. Tell them Momo sent you. Momo sent you. They'll help you out.
Momo sent us, yes. And unless you stop them, he's just going to usher, because they're terrified. Like they're laborers. They're not trained to fight like you are. They're just going to He's going to usher them out. As he does, the one that made the sign of the Church of Man kind of under their breath, kind of. I wonder if we can get danger pay for this. But you are left. The door. They go through the main door, obviously. And you are left in this large, empty room with 2 corpses, 2 crossbows, 2 giant like hypodermic needles, but just the needle bit, not the syringe, and a giant a fist-sized metal orb covered in strange arcane mannish symbols.
Okay. I guess we can just leave these things here. What about the rat we had tied up? Should we bring them with us? Should we put them here? I'm worried that if we just leave him, he'll get out and escape, and I have no idea.
You are right, Cecil. We should see to the rat and free it.
Or should we take it with us? Should we maybe
Take it with us? I don't want to set it free just yet.
I mean, I can't carry it. I'm not as mighty and strong and gorgeous and beautiful as you two are. I am only a small and humble Momo, but I think we should take it with us.
Very well.
If you go back down to the basement level, it's still there. Like you know from experience, having done this a couple of times, I would assume Sigmund. They're going to be out for a while.
So I'll probably keep them tied up and just pick them up and throw them over his shoulder.
Yep.
So come trotting back up.
Should we maybe look through what's here? Should we maybe look through what's here and see if there's evidence? Evidence, that's what it's called. Should we see if there's other evidence?
It's a good idea.
Yes. And he kind of just starts looking around. I mean, there's the needles. I don't know if they'd be of any use to anyone, although they might have some residue or something.
These are the needles that they were throwing without touching.
Okay. Yeah. So Sigmund's a little concerned about trying to put those in a bag because someone might get stuck.
I'm just gonna leave them here. Not touching those. Nope.
Yeah, he
nope.
He won't touch them. Dirty needles stay on the ground.
No, seems fair.
I have keen observer. Do I notice anything?
Well, that gives you advantage on wisdom based check. So if you want to make a notice check, which does use wisdom as its skill, you can. Or search, if you prefer either one. Although if you have the proficiency, if you have the skill written on your sheet, you can add 2 to the result. If you don't, it's just your wisdom modifier.
That's 14.
Okay. With the 14, you do discover obvious signs of conflict, a scuffle that presumably led to the laborers being herded into a huddle in the middle of the room. Do you investigate any of the bodies?
I mean, yeah, just for a basic overview.
Cool. So the 2 that were throwing the needles without touching them, they are alive. They're just unconscious. The laborers just beat them into oblivion, essentially. They have nothing on them. Apart from those aren't white rats, but they have patches of their fur that have been bleached white, and you can see where it's growing out. The apparent leader has a selection of vials and flasks kind of scattered in various pouches beneath the white robe that they wear. But they also have a small kind of like leather-bound journal on them with a pencil shoved into the spine.
Definitely take all that. Sigmund will throw that all into his bag.
Should we maybe tie these guys up too? But also, I'm a little worried because they could move things with their mind. Like if we tie them up, are they safe being tied up, or should we take them with us? I don't know. Maybe.
Let's cover their eyes so they cannot see.
Okay.
And then tie them into a chain and let them walk back.
Anyone who wants to, you can make an intelligence check. I'm just trying to figure out any skill that will tie into this. I guess it would be probably history, if you have no history as a skill.
10.
Okay, there's something about rats and being able to move things with their mind, but beyond
12.
That, again, there's a definite link. You've definitely either heard stories or come across people who have encountered not just rats, rodents in general, who can move things with their mind. But
17.
Okay. Having mentioned throwing things with their mind, and also having, I believe Momo was the one that read the papers on the desk in the cabin. There is a secret society almost that is whispered of, and Momo has probably come across certain whispers of the society. It's called the Cult of Labo Tor, and they are generally considered bad news. They experiment on other species and lesser rodents, including uplifted rodents. Yes, they are lab rats.
I know these guys. I read about them in Cryptid Weekly. And what happened was these are the Cult of Laboratory. Yes. Oh, and man used to have a most fearsome and terrible artifact, a hat of tinfoil to ward against their magical mind powers. I've read about this. Yes. Oh, and they experiment on other. This is what happened to the squirrel. It's all connected. It's
Squirrel?
all connected. Yes. Do you remember the squirrel, the big squirrel? That was it would have been a smaller squirrel, but then there was a big squirrel because it had the chain and then there's the needle in there. These are also needles. Oh my gosh, it's all connected. Oh. Where's my red thread?
We need to report this immediately.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Now that Momo has mentioned it, you all have heard stories about the fact that dogs get their magic from man via the church. Cats get their magic through less reputable methods. Rodents don't have magic. They, the ones that talk about it claim to be psychic. And then beyond that, you have no idea how lizards and birds and badgers connect with masterwork, foci, and the various esoteric and arcane powers that man was known to have wielded.
That's above Sigmund's pay grade.
Yeah, very much so. So, yes, you have white rats, you have definite members of the Cult of Labotor. 1 dead, 3 unconscious, and 2 that ran man knows where. I assume you are taking the unconscious ones with you?
Yeah,
Sigmund wants to just tie them up and let them walk.
There
but
are
like cover their eyes.
wheelbarrows on hand. Because for the construction work, if you want to put them in a wheelbarrow.
That works too.
Yeah, I have plenty of rope from character creation. So
like 1,000 yards, I think.
I don't know. I had like 150, 200 feet of rope, something like that. They just kept giving me rope. I cut off sections that we bind their paws, and I think covering their eyes is a good idea. So we maybe rip off a bit of fabric from one of their sleeves and cover their eyes with that, toss them in a wheelbarrow, and off we trot. I guess.
Oh, while I'm thinking about it, not that it matters any, but Momo going through their pockets, you find a few plastic coins. So if you are using the coin tracker, you just slide up to the next bracket on the coin tracker.
Okay. My plan with these few plastic coins are to pay for the workers when they get to the smelting pot, if they listen to me.
Okay. So it took you about 5 minutes to do a reasonably comprehensive search of the area and get everything tied up to your satisfaction, thrown into a wheelbarrow. And when you step out of I assume the main doors of the estate, you have a phenomenal view over the top of Hounton and to the surrounding hills, which form almost a complete circle around the town itself. And you can see a grand estate on each one, in a variety of architectural styles. There's no consistency to any of them. It was very much, as in real world analog, just a display of wealth, as how ostentatious you could make the facade of your house. But the scent of oncoming rain reaches your snouts, muzzles, and you know that it is going to rain reasonably in kind of probably by midday, and it's about 9 in the morning.
Must go faster. Must go faster. Must go faster. Run, run, hurry.
I am going to pull out Momo's very expensive and prized possession, her little ducky raincoat. It's a bright yellow raincoat with a little ducky brim over it to cover her eyes, and she's so very proud when she wears this. She's this little proud Momo dog.
So one of the conceits of the setting is obviously if you have a relic, you can apply to be a noble house, a noble family, and relics are supposed to be turned over. But as pioneers, you are actually allowed to keep any relics that you find, because the theory is that you can use it to find more relics. So I just like to imagine that this is a priceless relic of years past, and Momo's just gone, it's my coat now. But on the way down, so it's going to take you maybe 20 minutes to half an hour to get down off of this hilltop. And you're not at the peak of the hill, maybe 2/3 of the way up, but it's still a good mile or so from the town proper. And you're about halfway down when a patrol of guards, moving with some speed, kind of meets you. They're heading up the hill, presumably, to the estate. And they stop when they see the wheelbarrow with the rats in it. The leader is quite short, kind of the sand-covered fur, quite small, pointed ears, somewhat protruding eyes, probably Chihuahua. Looks from the wheelbarrow, which is chest height for them, gives Momo, the only dog about their height, a respectful nod, and then cranes their head back to look up at both Cecil and Sigmund. And it's odd giving a nod when you're looking up at someone, but they manage to convey it. You are and it looks like they want to say something, and then they catch themselves from saying it. The construction workers, they told us there was an incident at the estate and that we should investigate. I assume you were
the heroes. Yes, we are the heroes, the pioneering heroes. That is us. Yes.
There's that word. Yes, heroes. I assume you're the heroes.
Yes, that's us, heroes. Yes. Please show us to our accolades.
There was an incident at the estate, and rats, since that's where the ball is supposed to happen, it makes sense that someone needs to more thoroughly search it and make sure there aren't more rats doing nefarious things.
The one who has been speaking, they do have sergeant stripes, and they just massage their temple quite thoroughly. Fine. And they turn to the rest of the other three guards, and one of them is short, stocky, huge pendulous brown ears with like a really sorrowful face. Right, Bloodhound, you with me. Whip it. You're going back to the guardhouse, and you're going to get reinforcements just in case there are more. And they like completely just side eye the wheelbarrow. Rats. Do you? Turns to address the three of you. Do you need any support after such obviously heroic deeds? We have as much information as we need to complete an investigation and fill out the paperwork, but if you wish to supply a written statement...
Only that Cecil, our most excellent ratter, who is just so good at her job. Oh, she's so good. She's so good. She's so good. Yes, Cecil, our excellent ratter, is the one who ratted these rats in a ratty fashion.
If it makes your job easier, I will happily provide a statement of some sort. If it only complicates things, I'm not going to worry about it.
The sergeant just gives you a look that quite clearly says thank you. And seems to hold like a internal debate with himself, and then points to the final member of the patrol. Right, Collie, you with us. And the sergeant and the two guards, that the only name you have for them is Bloodhound and Collie, they head up the hill towards the estate. Whippet kind of hangs back for a moment and just gestures at the wheelbarrow. Do you want me to say that for you? The sergeant is very efficient, but sometimes he forgets the important details, in the grand scheme of things. I assume you don't want to be walking through the town with corpses? And then gets closer. Just the one, I see. Evidence.
Show us a more discreet way to get there.
Discretion.
Thanks for a moment.
We have an artifact that we want to return to the Transylvanian Hounds.
Gives you like a curious look, but decides not to push the matter, as you figure probably earn some amount of street cred with at least some of the town guard. Discreet way. Well, I've got for now is my cloak. And he kind of shrugs, but his whippet is quite tall. Just throws the cloak over the wheelbarrow, and it covers most of it. You've got like 3 pairs of feet just sticking up at one end, and then the tail's draped over. Beyond that, I mean, if I'm with you, or if I just take it myself, people are less likely to comment.
No.
But if you want to take it, I can give you directions.
Is there a servant's entrance we may use somewhere, perhaps towards the back?
We get deliveries at the side gate sometimes.
That will do finely.
Gives you like reasonably precise but easy to follow directions from your current location to the nearest guard station, and the side gate thereof. And then takes off running to get the reinforcements that he was originally dispatched to find.
Thank you.
We're not giving this role to anybody.
Throws like a wave over his shoulder with the hand that's not carrying the. Like it's got the spear and shield tucked really. It's like a short stabbing spear, designed one end to impale and the other one to incapacitate non-lethally, because they were told they were rats. So. But you can follow those directions easily enough, and everything in Houndton has been built. So Pugmire is the capital of the Empire of Pugmire. A lot of the buildings there are old, but there is attention paid to how they look. There is form and function. A lot of stuff in Houndton is built purely for function. This guard station is a squat, square building with a crenellation running around the top, just in case someone decides to try to lay siege to it, apparently. But there is a sturdy main entrance, and you follow the direction you were given to a side street, and there is in fact a more like a warehouse door, quite small, wooden but double doors, that when you knock on it, and there's like a grill that is pushed to one side, and a dog looks through and sees the wheelbarrow. Whippet told us to expect you, and the grill is closed, and the gate opens. This gate, unlike the ones that you greased with Sigmund grease, is not quiet. It is in poor repair, and it creaks as it is swung open.
You should have maintenance look at that.
Yeah, well, I have time and money. And you are ushered relatively swiftly into a small... it's essentially like a carriage yard with just enough space for a delivery carriage to turn around and get back out. The dog that ushers you in is kind of medium height, medium build. It has this luxuriant red fur, and they look. She looks backwards. She looks left and right out of the gate to see if anyone's noticed you with this wheelbarrow. Presumably, mutters under a breath, "Nah, it's all good," and closes the gates behind you. Whippet said you had evidence in a wheelbarrow, and that we should do everything we could to keep the populace from seeing it. May I? And she reaches for the cloak that's draped over the 4 rats, sorry. And if no one stops her, we'll grab it and pull it off.
Yeah, Cecil's got no problem with that.
She pulls it off. Well, he wasn't kidding. Okay. Well, I'll get a... Yeah. She's not wearing any signifier of rank, and clearly looks out of her depth. I'm just going to go and get someone who can deal with... I'll be honest, when I joined, I wasn't expecting this. And she gestures at the rats. Yeah. And she just... Wait here a moment. And she just like motions you to stay with a pause and takes off at a rather unprofessional hurry into the rear entrance of the guard station. And you hear a hurried conversation from the door that she doesn't quite shut behind her in her haste. And she comes back out with a... you know what? Sure, why not? An Afghan. Tall, thin, long, flowing fur, long ears. This one is wearing... I can't remember, and I can't be bothered to check right now. So I'm just going to say captain stripes, but I can't... There are ranks given in the rulebook, but I'm just, it takes longer to look through it to find them than just to improvise on the spot and retcon. And definitely he carries himself with an air of authority. This is a dog who is used to getting his own way. Where did my notes on the Afghan hounds go?
Cecil immediately internally dislikes him.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is totally fair. There we go.
Sigmund goes into his battle ready stance, basically, just like ready for an argument from this guy.
Yeah, he kind of cocks his head to the side, snout traveling ever so slightly up as well at the same time, to look to examine what you have in the wheelbarrow. Well, I suppose you want some kind of reward. Your kind usually do.
Our kind, really.
We've never needed pioneers in Hounton. We look after our own.
Oh, really? Because that's not what happened here. Because what happened here was we were looking for something that was missing. Discretion. Anyway, and what we found was rats under your city. That's what we found. We found rats under your city, and they were doing horrible, monstrous, terrible experiments on unuplifted creatures. Yes, Yes, yes. And
That's
also
probably
they have people in cages. They have people in cages. And there was blood and 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 that's not taking care of your people. That's
and
not taking care of your people.
that's probably where your missing citizens are.
Mm,
We can show you where that is, but no, we don't want a reward. We just thought you should know what was going on in your city.
you want to go? You want to go? I can take you.
Down, Momo.
Okay.
Sigmund will put a hand in front, will reach down and put a hand on Momo, like, steady.
There's that tall as a state of mind. The Afghan just eyes Momo, and just kind of there's a moment where it's very definitely clear he's just reached the point of it's not worth my time to talk to the small one. So he addresses the only person he perceives as an equal, Cecil. Your assistance is greatly appreciated, as is your humility and lack of asking for a reward. We will, of course, see that this matter is dealt with, and do you have a superior that I can report your stellar and, dare I say, loyal behavior to?
Nope.
Excellent. Matilda, see to it. And he just... Everything about his body language screams he's going to click his heels before he turns and walks away, but he just turns and walks away.
Yeah, you better. Better.
Yeah, Sigmund was going to tell him about the other stuff they found, but since he's being such a jerk, he's just keeping it. So
The
Oh, we can show you those hidden rat layers if you want, but like, you can also go look for them yourself if you're like, do you even know how to find things? What are you? Do you want to know or not?
Oh, over his shoulder as he, re-enters the guard station. I'm sure that Sergeant Chihuahua and clearly reaching for the names of the guards who.
Oh yeah, go
who
groom
went.
yourself or something. We'll
Constable
talk to someone that actually
Bloodhound
does the work.
Have this well in paw. They are some of our best officers, and if it is stops, turns in the doorway, looks back at you over his shoulder. Quite frankly, if you can find it, I'm sure they can too. And just walks out of view into the shadowed corridor. The officer with the lush red fur, she looks extremely awkward, and
I can do it.
would like to be anywhere else than here right now. Matilda Redsetter, I suppose, as the captain introduced me incorrectly.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Hello. Yeah.
You're lovely.
Well, yes. Well, I know what to do with these three, but I suppose I prefer to physician. And she gestures to the ones that are bound and unconscious. They're starting to stir, but they're probably going to be out for at least groggy for a little while longer anyway. But I suppose a physician or a shepherd for the deceased would be best. Trying to think where I can find one at this time.
The living ones, at least two of them have some kind of psychic capability. So anyone you have on staff that is comfortable with that, maybe?
Clearly starts to panic at this point. No sense motive needed. This dog is so far out of her depth that she can't even remember the surface. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a sack over their head, and hope that helps. Yes. This is clearly just an internal monologue. She's not even talking to you at this point. Sack over the head. She double checks. Yes, they are manacled. They are bound. Manacles probably a good idea as well. Okay, Matilda, you can do this. And she just walks back into the station. Like,
I wonder
Ancient
what.
lore says that you wear tinfoil on your head to protect yourself.
freezes in the doorway. Oh, right. Sorry, I got carried away. Yes. Sorry, is there anything else that I can do for you while I'm figuring out the best way to imprison potentially extremely dangerous criminals?
Is she close enough that Sigmund could touch her?
You could take like a couple of paces, yeah,
Okay.
and I'll get to it.
Sigmund will walk up and just put a paw on her shoulders. You have done fine. Have trust in yourself and your abilities.
You're
Yeah,
very
figure out
good.
whatever you did to piss off that one, the other guy,
The captain. Oh,
or is he just like that?
I shouldn't really speak ill of a superior.
Oh, he's just like that. Got it. Okay.
She looks really guilty, but technically, she didn't break any conventions. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And she looks up at Sigmund.
Mhm. He'll step back to the others.
Despite what the captain said, some of us here do appreciate pioneers when they come through town. We do occasionally have problems that we are ill-equipped to deal with, and your pioneers and their experience is well, it's a useful resource. And I know you've turned it down, but we do have a small discretionary allowance for assistance in these matters.
Discretion.
Sigmund just shakes his head. It's just, no, thank you.
No thanks. So can we leave these
Oh,
with
yes.
you?
Yes, I will deal with these. Tinfoil, and the way she says it, she has no idea what tinfoil is. For those ones, and a physician or a shepherd for the deceased. Okay.
And we have to take care of something at this moment, but would it be helpful for us to come back later and show you the tunnels and such?
No, well, if you wish, but the captain does make a good point. Sergeant Chihuahua and Constable Bloodhound are some of our best investigators. They were briefly considered for the Inquisitors, but something happened, and we are not allowed to know any more about that. But they have. This is an epilogue for an actual play. Ducky, apologies, but it's all up on YouTube. Or episodes, session 0 and the first 2 sessions are on YouTube. I don't know about the third one yet. But back to game. Yes, they are very, very, very good at what they do, and they will likely find it.
Well, it sounds like the paws that we need on the ground are on the ground, and that's the important bit. So good.
Very much so. And you said there were cages and people in cages?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Should I give them the directions? Okay, if you go through the split, there's a house that's mostly fallen in, but under the table, there is a hole that we got through, and then we followed it. We followed it to this big cave. But also you can go the other way from the Transylvanian Houndmounder. Oh, hi, baby. I'm so glad to see you, sweetheart. Yes, this is my baby. She's a cat, but that's okay. I still love her. Anyway, what happened was, is through the Transylvanian Houndmounder, there's a door in the basement, and if you go through that, you can just follow the door down. There'll be a big white coat that's hanging on a thing. We thought it was a person, but it's actually just a coat. Anyway, you follow that down, and you go through the tunnels, and you'll find the big room that way too. And that's how we got there.
She was repeating that under her breath the entire time. So she's probably Lee, I think your cat wanted to send us a message.
Yes, sorry about that.
It's all good. For the benefit of the YouTube and Twitch audience, I have a Zoom chat open in case people need to duck out for whatever reason, and it's just punctuation. Yeah, she was repeating that under her breath as Momo said it, and nods at the end of it. I will find some officers to look into that. Thank you for everything that you've done. This gestures to, the rats, gestures to the fact that you were all injured. Could not have been easy. And then she kind of shakes herself into some vague approximation of efficiency. Right, tinfoil, manacles, sack, and walks back into the station. Just tinfoil, manacles, sack, physician, tinfoils, manacles, sack, physician, down the corridor, leaving you alone in the carriage yard of one of Hampton's guard stations. The gate out was closed behind you, but it's unbarred. The door into the station has been left open because she's just distracted by other things, and you have a wheelbarrow of 3 slowly coming around rats and a rat corpse, as well as the ball.
Sigmund, you want to knock them out again?
Yes. He's going to lean in and give them each a punch in the face.
Oh, Lee, if you want to post that link into the Zoom chat, I'll copy paste it over for you.
Do I need to roll, or is it just?
Oh no, there's absolutely no chance. They're tied up in a wheelbarrow and
Okay.
very groggy.
Yes.
Three sharp raps later, and you've just got 3 unconscious rats again.
Yep.
Okay, great. Then let's go, because I don't want to see that other Afghan again.
This should work. I assume mods can post links. Yeah. Is that just the shorter link, Lee?
No, the playlist only has session 1, the session 0 and session 1. The second link is session 2.
Okay. There you go for those of you watching in chat. That's what this is. Please. Internet browser. There we go. Yeah, you can there's no watching, there's nothing stopping you leaving and continuing on with your journey. The first kind of, you can smell rain on the air now. It's not reached Hampton yet, but it has started falling probably on the other side of the city limits.
Need to get inside.
Do you not like getting wet?
Fortunately, once upon a time, I came upon this grand artifact, this relic of human eras past, and the people who had it, they didn't know what it was. But it only fits me and dogs that are like me, that are my size, and clearly it is a cloak of great hunters who would wear the marks of their enemies and beasts that they had slain, and that's why I have this, and it protects me from the rain. It's very good. There are boots.
Nothing protects me from the rain other than the roof of man. And he kind of looks up at the sky, kind of like.
I don't mind getting wet, because then I get to dry off and I'm very fluffy. But I think we're almost there.
So where are you heading for?
Do we have to turn in the relic then?
Yeah, I was planning on going to the Transylvanian Hounds and giving them their relic back, and then seeing what I can do about my terribly burnt paws.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, you can rest, obviously, if you want to get some help
I don't
back.
want to be responsible for this thing longer than necessary.
Nope. Okay.
Let's go.
We can rest after we give the Transylvanian Hounds their ball back.
Yep.
It's I mean, it's a ball, and all balls are good, but this is just not the goodest ball.
It's like we're returning the ball. Someone threw it, we caught it, and we're returning it. Hopefully they just don't throw it again, because I don't know what we'll do if they do that.
The Church of
They
Man
need to hide the ball behind their back. So.
I was going to say, the Church of Man sometimes tells stories of evil ones who did not throw the ball. but you can. Why not? Let's have a dice roll to see if you get there before it rains.
Hmm.
So whoever's leading you, it'll be a wisdom survive check, please. So if
Can
you...
I use traverse to help me help us move along a little faster? Sigmund wants to get in before it starts really raining.
You know what? Sure, yeah. So the survive check was not get lost, but if you want to use Constitution Traverse to just push through everyone in front of you, that works for me too.
Yes.
So if you want to make a Constitution Traverse check,
yeah. All right, so I got a +1 on that.
so it's D20 plus your Constitution modifier, and if you have the Traverse skill, you add 2 as well.
Oh, okay. Let's see. 15.
Excellent. Oh, yes, I should have probably mentioned this at the start of the session, but for those watching, friendly reminder: we're using an outdated version of the playtest rules. When Wizards of the Coast kicked off the OGL, I'm going to euphemistically frame it as a topic. Eddie Webb, the founder of Pugsteady Games and the creator of the Realms of Pugmire, decided to go through and convert it completely to the Onyx 20 D20 system. So we're referencing things that will likely have different names and will likely work in slightly different ways in the final rules. But if you do back the currently running Kickstarter, you'll get access to, I believe, the current playtest rules in chunks throughout the campaign. However, with the 15, you were there last night. Do you know roughly where it is? There are enough people to ask questions if you do get lost, and Sigmund is a dog on a mission.
Yes.
And takes Momo and Cecil for a walk, just pushing past everyone in front of him. There are a few dogs, and even fewer cats, in Hampton who could pose a significant obstacle to a member of the Grand Family of Pyrenees in armor when they're so focused on their destination. And it is a matter of 20 minutes before you are in front of the facade of the Transylvanian Hound's decaying townhouse.
He kind of stops. And he kind of just gestures for one of his party members to knock. So while he's catching his breath. So.
Hello. Hello.
You hear Paul steps, and then the door is opened once more by the white furred. Her position in the household was never introduced, but butler, housekeeper, maybe something along those lines. Her name was given as Larissa, though, and again, this is an intentional pronominal shift because her pronouns are she/they. They look down at you and kind of smile. Their short, boxy snout. You've returned.
Yes, the great and magnificent Larissa. We have returned discreetly.
She looks kind of up and down the street behind you. You have not been followed. That is discreetly, yes.
We have the thing.
Ah, fantastic. And she, steps in, ushers you in. I will go and tell Lachlan, Mr. Transylvanian Hound, and I believe his wife is in the study, Mrs. Carolyn. And she gestures in the direction of the room that you were in last, with the huge kind of geologist desk and the much smaller administrator's desk. And then she goes the other way to presumably go upstairs to inform Lachlan Transylvanian Hound that you have returned. But if you do go to the left and towards into the study, you do in fact find Carolyn there. She's wearing again, as with last time, she's wearing a day dress, but it's a season or two out of date. It's a bit shabby around the hems. Her huge fluffy ears do kind of like twitch as you approach, but she doesn't look up from what she's doing. which apparently is a very in-depth observational sketch of a geode that she's got on the desk in front of her, situated between like 3 candles after providing as much light as she can possibly get. And she has this strange... you've encountered them a couple of times. You do know some dogs that wear spectacles, usually quite well-to-do dogs. Mora Pug, the senior librarian, has been known to wear a pair of spectacles on occasion. And it looks like a spectacle lens, but much larger, and it's kind of mounted in this metallic arm to allow her to see in great detail the geode in front of her. And she's kind of using a stick of charcoal on some parchment to produce this drawing. I heard the door. Forgive me if I don't shake your paw in mine. And she raises like her spare paw, and it's just covered in thick black charcoal dust. It takes a while to get off, and I would hate to... You realise that you're all quite pale fur dogs. She kind of tries to think of a way to not like insult your fur colouring. It would show up.
No worries. I'm sure that Mr. Lockland will be here soon enough, and he can keep doing what you're doing. We're good.
Yes. Please sit. And she gestures with the same spare paw, and there's this scattering of charcoal dust flies across the surface of a desk. But she gestures to the long couch in the room. You do hear the pad click of Lachlan and his cane as he enters the room. Last time you saw him, you realized he needed the cane, but this time you realized that he was wearing a prosthesis under one of his trouser legs, because he just has it pinned up this time, and he's just leaning on the cane. And Larissa kind of helps him to lean against his desk. I'll just go fetch some refreshments, and she ducks out to get some, snacks, water, that kind of thing. But Lachlan looks at you appraisingly. Larissa says that you have recovered the item.
I walk over and hand him my backpack. Step away. I'm not touching that again. Keep the bag. It's in there.
He, opens it, reaches in carefully and reverentially takes out the small metal ball. Again, it's only about fist sized, but they put out a lot of heat for something that small. Well, this is... He looks at it and rubs at something with it with the pad of one of his thumbs. As this is... You've done this family a great service. Our means are little, and Larissa enters with this dinged up, like, metal carafe of a pitcher of some kind, simple clay mugs, puts them down on a low table that she awkwardly pushed into position with a paw. But if we can do anything for you, please, you have but to ask. Okay, Unstable Desk. Here's the thing. It was inspired by the Devil's Core. The Devil's Core, it was a nuclear device that was horrendously volatile, if I recall correctly. Back to the game, however. After some small chat interaction, Lachlan continues. Yes, if we can do... and Carolyn kind of coughs politely just to cut him off. Well, dear, we were only talking about how we didn't want to go to the ball, which means our tickets are available for anyone who would like them.
I think Momo would appreciate that. What do you think, Momo?
Can I go to the ball? This ball? Can I go to the ball? The ball? I want the ball. I want the ball.
Yes, Momo, you could. Yes.
Yay! I get the ball.
Carolyn looks at Larissa. Larissa, be a dear and fetch the invitations. You will, of course, require something to wear, but we should be able to sort that out.
So happy. Tail wags going.
Okay, so Momo, here's my plan.
Yes.
You're
Okay.
gonna wear that the color that the those papillons that we spoke with on the way here.
Crimson.
You're gonna wear the color that they thought was like eye-catching, upcoming, forward, whatever that was. Was it a purple?
Crimson.
It was crimson. You're gonna wear
Crimson.
crimson, and then I'm gonna wear the awful color that they said not to wear, and I'm going to do everything I can to embarrass the Afghans.
Amazing. But what I had this idea is like, what if we use like the chartreuse, right? The chartreuse, to make like a little lapel pin, and so the chartreuse is the stem, and then the crimson is the flower. The crimson flower with the chartreuse. Do you see my vision? Do you see my vision?
No, I don't, but I trust you.
Thank you. I love you.
Curiously, Larissa does return with 3 invitations. So perhaps they were taking her as well. But as this is well, before we move on, do you have any other questions that you would like to ask the Transylvanian hounds in their dilapidated house?
Do you want to know how to sneak into the Transylvanian Hound Manor? Because we can show you.
Oh yeah, there's a secret tunnel. You might want to have something done about that.
Secret tunnel.
Now I've just got cave badges in my brain. More badges in my brain. Lachlan pulls himself upright, very firmly with the cane. That is... You know what? As much as we would like to claim ownership of the estate and land still, the other families, the other hound families have made it perfectly clear that as we lack the financial means to occupy the site, it is their land, it is their problem to deal with as they see fit. When we can afford such lofty heights again, I have no doubt we'll tear the place down and rebuild as we have rebuilt our fortunes.
Yep. So that's a go on embarrassing the Afghans.
Okay, so as this is very much an epilogue, and as I'm very much a believer that the players have narrative control as much as I do as the guide, and the dice do, would you all like to narrate a short scene about your character at the ball the next day? In whichever order you want, or I can just pick.
Sigmund's would probably be short. He might have his formal uniform from before he retired. He would probably wear that. He doesn't dance. He's probably standing probably by a bar and maybe having an ale or two, and is watching the other two enjoy. So
the general vibe of the ball, and when you get there, like there is a bar set up, there's a stage with a band playing, full like banquet atmosphere of tables groaning under food, but the general vibe is definitely split between the hound families and everyone else who just happened to get an invitation. But if Momo or Cecil would like to step in with their thing, I need to. Sorry, I meant to say this at the start. I got a tickle in the back of my throat like 5 minutes before we started streaming, and it's awful trying not to cough.
Take a moment, Momo. You got this.
Okay, so what I am going to do, Momo, the world-renowned collector of trash, the Crimson Flower, the great hero of Houndton, What I will do is I will charm absolutely everyone I can, and I will use my time in charming absolutely everyone I can to get secrets and dirt, and I will feed that information to Cecil so she can help embarrass the Afghans. And I will do whatever I can in this time to promote the glory and beauty and the wonder of the pavillons and the Transylvanian hounds, because they're fantastic. They're just such wonderful people. Also, I'm going to mention this melting pot because they're fantastic. They're so good. It's such a great idea to invest in your community. And so I'm going to promote the idea that we should be investing in our community, especially around the spoil, because it's very dangerous, because that's how the rats got in the first place, and they started kidnapping people. That's terrible. We don't need to have that here. This is a good town, and we take care of ourselves. Don't we take care of ourselves? Anyway, that's what we should be doing. We should be doing is investing in the community and investing in ourselves, and taking care of ourselves, because we are only as strong as the smallest dog.
Okay, so you have a choice. Lee, as the player, you have a choice. You can attempt, with advantage, a charisma persuade roll. Or, you have 3 points of fortune still. You can spend one of them to declare that someone else at this ball is a past customer or fellow merchant, as per your background trick. Customer base, I think it was called. And not have to roll at all.
I'm going to use fortune if everyone's okay with that, because we have 3 points, and I'm going to invoke my customer base.
Okay, so you do in fact realize that one of the dogs behind the bar is a supplier that you've encountered several times, both as a pioneer and in your previous life as a merchant, and they are perfectly placed to get all of that hot gossip. Now, what I don't know if I mentioned this on stream for Twitch, but my players know this. I put more preparation into this limited one shot than anyone has seen, and astonishingly, I did actually come up with gossip and dirt on all of the hound families. So, what you learn, the Afghan hounds, the rumor is that their mine is completely tapped out. They have no active workings. The Basset hounds, the heir to the house is desperately in love with Victoria Wolfhound. The foxhounds, apparently, and the foxhounds are the current ruling house. The mayor is a foxhound. Apparently, the mayor and her wife know where a relic can be found. The Greyhound's gossip is, in the barkeep's own word, remarkably tame. Their heir has a child born on the wrong side of the blankets. Or a pup littered on the wrong side of the blanket. I don't know how far that phrase goes. Do you tell your merchant compatriot that you're here because of in place of the Transylvanian hounds?
Yes.
Okay, you do not get that piece of gossip then. And the piece of gossip for the wolfhounds isn't gossip at all. Your supplier can confirm that Victoria Wolfhound, the heir to the Wolfhound family, one is the scourge of taverns the town over. She has a reputation for tavern brawling. And two, that she actually won a tavern, the Wagging Tail, in an illegal fight ring. And
go on, I'm sorry.
She runs that incognito.
As soon as we get that gossip, I go find her and hit on her ruthlessly and attach myself to her for the remainder of this party.
Okay.
Is there a way that I can wriggle out the Transylvanian hounds gossip out of my contact or someone else?
I would ask a roll for this. So that would be it's add your charisma modifier, and if you are proficient in persuade, you can add that too.
That is 12.
12? Okay, yeah. Your friend glances around conspiratorially and leans forward and kind of under his breath kind of got to stop saying kind of, under his breath says, now a couple of the nobles here, they think that Lachlan and Larissa are carrying on behind Carolyn's back. But, well, I think it's mighty telling that they had 3 tickets together.
You know, I think love is a wonderful thing. And it's not like pie. There's enough to go around for everyone in all the magnificent and glorious ways that we can express love for each other. And I think more importantly, it's what man would have wanted, for us to love each other and express that love however we can find it.
Your merchant friend nods wisely and just passes you a drink.
This is the most calm that anyone has ever seen Momo.
The gossip calms her. However, if you are, do not talk about the tavern flying. If you are trying to get on Victoria Wolfhound's good side, something you can do, certainly in the playtest rules that we have access to, is the default assumption when dogs meet for the first time is that we're friends. There is not to trust you or like you. We're friends. What you can do once a week is try to improve the way they perceive you. So how are you approaching Victoria Wolfhound upon learning that she won a tavern in an illegal fighting ring?
With a drink and a deck of cards.
Okay. So she's standing there, tall, wiry grey fur, wearing a dress that doesn't quite cover the fact that she is incredibly well-toned. Her parents have... It's one of those situations where she looks uncomfortable in the dress, so she probably didn't choose it. And she keeps like tugging at the neckline and moving her shoulders to get into position to settle properly. And almost like absently scratching at a healing cut on the back of her hand. But she does see you approach and almost coldly just turns from the dog that was talking to her, who gets the message. I mean, she's tall, she's well built. They're not going to, force their conversation upon her. And they almost meekly just look at the ground and walk away. But yeah, she sees you approaching. Well, this is new.
What do you mean new? We're all friends, right? Drink?
Don't mind if I do. And she takes it and gestures to the room with it. You just seem more interesting than anyone else here.
Funny, I think the same thing about you. You're very interesting. How about a game of cards?
Sure. With her interest peaked, if you would like to make the... hang on. I think it's Charisma... Yes, it's Charisma Persuade. So D20, add your Charisma modifier, +2 if you're proficient in Persuade. I get to roll her Charisma Sense Motive. Oh dear.
Dirty 20. I
got a total of 4.
If it's helpful, Victoria is in fact Cecil is genuinely interested in Victoria, and the fact that this could also be embarrassing to the Afghan hounds is a bonus.
Okay, that is totally fine. Over the course of the evening, you definitely make inroads towards being friends. Like, not just casual acquaintances, but genuine, like, she likes you as a person, and you have a whole conversation. And to be fair, like, she probably notices them. You definitely notice them. A number of dogs of all gender presentations do approach her over the course of the evening. She ignores them to focus entirely on the conversation you're having with her.
Heck yeah.
But the ball, as all social events must, does eventually wind down, and we've reached the end of the actual play. You are all good dogs. So, do you have any questions for me out of character? About anything that you came across that you have lingering questions about?
Sigmund is just going to hold on to the book and the stuff he found in case he ever needs it as leverage against someone.
No, that's totally fair.
He didn't feel like turning that in just yet. He was going to kind of keep that the pioneer's secret. So
yeah,
no,
I mean,
no.
Flick, if he does flick through it at any point, it's a large section of it is actually dedicated to maps of a truly enormous underground area that is simply annotated as the Underneath. And there are hand-drawn illustrations with arrows on them about entry points into the Underneath.
It might be something that he can hold on to, or maybe Cecil through one of her contacts might be able to sell at some point. So yeah, just gonna kind of keep it our little secret. But no, other than that, no questions.
What would have happened if we failed?
If you'd failed, well, the ball was going to do 1d4 damage for 1 round. But, like, the next round, it was going to start dealing damage. And I was just going to roll 1d4, then 1d4 plus 1d6, 1d4 plus 1d6 plus 8, etc. Until it looped around, and then 2d4 plus 1d6, etc. It would have been real bad really quickly. It is, after all, a relic of man. Yeah. You would have died. Pretty much everyone would have died, to be fair. It was a nuclear device. Everyone in the estate would have perished. And then at that point, it's no longer the purview of the story because the characters have failed.
But all dogs go to heaven, so that's okay.
That's true. If you'd failed before that, like to find a way in, pretty much the rats would have just attacked the ball, and I would have contrived to have you at the actual ball, and the fight with the rats would have happened with panicking nobles around you.
I don't think the only real question I had was, what is this ball thing? But you've answered that.
Yeah, nuclear device.
It's a nuclear device.
But like a reasonable nuclear device, because this is set way, way, way in the far future. So a couple of the other relics were like a reasonable flashbang or a Geiger counter, which is going to be if they swing by there and they get it, then it's a big clue that they probably shouldn't have this relic be activated. Sorry, it wasn't. What did I call it? I gave them suitably archaic pseudo
Devil's Core or something like that, or
so yours was the ball of heat, but the Devil's Core was the actual nuclear device that inspired it.
Okay.
The Afghan hounds have the Staff of Burning Light, which is just a mining laser. The Basset hounds have the Sunmaker, which is a reasonable flashbang. Foxhounds, the Fire Sealer, which is a welding torch. Greyhounds, the White Box, which is a white box with a red cross on it. It's just nanotech healing device. Oh, no, they were the ones I originally gave a Geiger counter to, but then I was like, no. The situation in which you would have a Geiger counter and think to like turn it on, not knowing what it did, it was... Oh, no, sorry. The Wolfhounds have it. It's called the Warning Click. So if you cast Identify on this item, what would it seem to do? And a Geiger counter clicks in a warning fashion. But if you have other questions, this is a playtest, obviously, as I mentioned. Do you have any thoughts on the system? Bearing in mind that the system will change slightly post Kickstarter with all the feedback and stuff.
I like it generally better than any other D20 game I've played. I don't like D&D for a number of reasons, and I don't want to get into which system is better. But this feels a lot simpler and a lot more intuitive for me as somebody coming into a system who has no idea how it's supposed to work. I don't know what changes will be made, but if it moves more in this direction, I am encouraged. This is a game I would pick up. I would absolutely send it to some of my friends, like Ducky, who's joined us today in the chat. I would send it to her or to them and make sure that they get a copy, and then they can share it with their people and play. So yeah, that's my feelings on this. I know there's some things about the character sheet that will be changed because I can see them, which I think are positive changes. I like the shift away from breed. So, or you're not necessarily defined by the traits of what you are, that Momo can be more than what is defined by being a short shepherd dog. I mean, she still has the traits of being a herder, but it focuses more on her upbringing, and that defines her personality. I like that. What else was it there that I like to say? I like how the tracking plastic works. I hate sitting there doing shopping episodes. I hate sitting there like, oh, do I have enough for this? And I just like knowing, oh yes, absolutely. You have this, you have money, you have some money, you have less money. That's great. And I like the ability that we had to go, oh, I remembered to grease up the Pyrenees first. That was really nice for me.
Always grease your Pyrenees.
Always grease your Pyrenees. And I like the whole change in the personality traits to I am a good dog, because that's great. Because then it stops being about what the external definition is, and it becomes about who we are as dogs. So that was nice.
Anyone else have anything? So I'm
Do
trying
you
to.
want to go next? Do you want to
myself
go
as
next,
well.
Jersey, or?
How you going?
Okay. Yeah, no, as somebody who's never played this system before, I really enjoyed it. I really like the setting. I actually backed the Kickstarter after we started playing because really interested in it. I'm not much of a rules person, honestly, so I'd be interested to see what the changes are going to be. I'm more of a just narrative, just kind of following the story, but I really like it, and looking forward to when the next edition comes out to giving it a shot, and maybe trying to run my own game. So.
And I also backed it after we played. I don't know. I've backed it at this point because I've enjoyed the setting, and I second everything that Lee has said about some of the shifts that are happening. I really like all of those. And the atmosphere of it is a lot of fun. I generally gravitate towards horror or comedic horror. This is not something that I would normally pick up if I saw it in a store, but the feel of it is still fun. There's still some interesting potentially darker aspects to it, but it's much more like this is the first stream that I've been in that I've said, hey mom, you can watch this one. I don't do anything horrific in it. So it's enjoyable, and it's not something I would have picked up initially, but I've backed it and I'm looking forward to playing it. And I've liked it. The feel is good. The mechanics are simple enough that, yeah, if you wanted to play it with a child, this would be a good gateway RPG.
If you do want to see, like, because it's a role playing game, you can theoretically play it in any genre you want to. If you would like, for Rosie, but anyone else, if you are interested in a more like darker tone, whoa, that's a raiding party, as we're discussing the system. Thank you, Raiders. Welcome in. We are discussing some feedback on the playtest rules for Realms of Pugmire that we have access to. But welcome in. If you do want to see a more, I guess technically is horror themed take on Realms of Pugmire, Red Moon Role Playing. It's on YouTube. Their YouTube channel, Eddie Webb, the writer of the game, actually ran a 3-session game for a couple of people, and it's a lot darker than this was. I very much wanted to embrace the, we're dogs, we're adventuring dogs. It's lighthearted by its very concept, and is for people who've not played the game before. I was like, I very much want to embrace that side of it before taking on different genres with it. But Red Moon Role Playing, Tower of the Oliphant. It's up in its entirety. There's 3 40-minute videos on YouTube. With a much darker tone than what we've gone through here. I wouldn't expect it to change all that much from what we've got to at the backup manuscript that Tom and Rosie will have access to when it's released in its entirety. I think a large part of the changes were just rewording things, and where something was like covered exclusively by the OGL, just making it fit with slightly different mechanics. For me, I guess for people who are watching who don't know what we're talking about, Realms of Pugmire is a tabletop fantasy game where you play dogs adventuring in a post-apocalyptic fantasy setting. But it doesn't. It has a class system, but it doesn't have like class features or anything like that. You have tricks, and you are all level 1 characters. Should we... Oh, thank you for the shout out, Plastic Age Plays. Should we play again, I would have you all level up to level 2. And you can choose a new trick, or you can refine one of the tricks you have if they have refinement options. So it's just, you can do the same thing, but in a slightly different way. Or you might roll a bigger damage die, or you might be able to attack twice, that kind of thing. None of you are spellcasters, obviously. But if you are a spellcaster in other games, in like a short rest, you can spend stamina dice to regain hit points or to regain spell points. So you can you're not beholden to an entire day going by before you can cast spells again if you don't want to. And also, characters max out at level 10. There is the joke in the 1st edition book that you cannot teach an old dog new tricks, and at 10th level, you're an old dog. So you can play past that. Obviously, it's a rule set that you can do whatever you want with, but the guidance is stop at level 10, because all of the combat math breaks down after that point. And something I noticed as the guide when I was going through looking at the enemies to throw at you was that it's just so much better than some other games that I'm not going to name. Like the encounter math is like, you are a level 1 character. This challenge rating 1 creature is an appropriate threat. I don't have to do weird maths or consult a table. Like I knew when I threw the 2 minions. I think they were just called researchers. No, not researchers, because they worship researcher. What are they called? Illuminated. The Illuminated of Researcher. They're slightly higher challenge rating than you are, so I lowered their values to kind of pull it into mixture. And then the Smoldering Chemist, which was the boss, I left as is, and you just dealt so much damage to the poor rat in like 2 rounds that you took him out without him really being a threat anyway. But it's everything's so simple, and like obviously there's Twitter accounts and social media posts of kids who run games, but this is genuinely a game that as you said, you could use to introduce children as a tabletop game. But you could just also, it's so simple, you could just leave a kid to run this for a group of kids, and they probably wouldn't have that many questions.
And I'm a dog.
Yeah, and you're a dog or a cat.
Or you could be like, I want to be a cat. And I'm like, fine, we can be cats. Do we all want to be cats? Want to be rats? Cool. You do that.
So the core book, Realms of Pugmire, include, so the basic assumption is dogs, but it does, for people who don't know, it does have an appendix covering how to play cat characters and how to play mice and rats using the rules presented in Realms of Pugmire. I'm pretty sure I'm not making this up, and that Eddie has said that the idea is down the line to have like a cat player guide, which has specific cat options in it, and I'd expect like a rodents player guide, because Squeaks in the Deep was the final book to come out for first edition, and that was Mega Dungeons and rodent playing. So you can be animals, and there's birds and lizards.
And the way it was structured, I think it would be pretty simple to just homebrew. Like if someone wanted to be a panda, or if someone's like, I want to be a platypus. Like, okay, sure, we can work that out.
Tail swish. So
something. Like the structure of it was simple enough that if you wanted to homebrew, I think it's flexible enough to accommodate that, which is awesome.
Yeah, most definitely. Particularly with like, I love it in a game, and obviously your mileage may vary with this, but I love it in a game where the character creation chapter is the longest chapter, because it gives you all of the information that you could possibly need to know in one place. So when you are homebrewing, you're just flicking through one chapter rather than having to go all the way through the book multiple times.
And I don't remember if all of us did the random generation for characters, but I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
That's generally my favorite method.
Yeah.
And the table system
Yeah.
worked, and it was easy to follow.
Yeah, because I know I did random and ended up coming up with what I had originally planned, but like the he wasn't a Pyrenees. I mean, it was a lot of fun though, because it was like let's just see what we get, and then let's just try playing it from there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I originally had a very different idea in mind, something that would have been closer to what Cecil is. But I mean, Momo has been a blast to play. It's been so much fun. And I think the only part of random character generation that I didn't do was, as soon as I got Herder, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a mini shepherd because that's my friend's dog. So everything has been based off of that, off of my friend's mini shepherd Momo, which has been just such a hoot. Thank you so much.
Any other thoughts on the system? Okay. I was going to say something. It's not official, but so there's someone who has been putting together like Onyx Path character sheets, form-fillable Onyx Path character sheets for a long time, called Mr. Gon. I don't know if any of you have heard of them, but they do have a totally unofficial Realms of Pugmire sheet that you can use if, as a backer, you have access to the rules. You can use them. So there is an unofficial sheet to support that if you do want to, introduce children or adults, parents, to a game. I know that certainly I've tried to roleplay with my partner's parents, and her dad got it. Her mum was a bit overwhelmed by all of the options. So something like this that has far fewer options, definitely a more useful resource. But if you know other feedback, I guess maybe when the game comes out, if Onyx Path want coverage of the game, we could, if Sigmund has retired by that point, Tom, we could roll up another character. Or
I think I probably would roll up somebody else. I think he's he's gonna just be a good dog and go retire. So I might want to try something else, maybe like a magic user or something.
So one of the most important questions: what does Sigmund do in retirement?
Oh yeah, you need to know.
I don't know. He's never had a chance to do it. Probably sleep a lot and probably just guard. I mean, still he's, a guard. I mean, like like a lot of retired people become like crossing guards and, things like that. He'd still have kind of a civic duty, but not adventuring anymore. So
Oh, what's the there's that thing in Italy, isn't there, where they employ retired old guys to stand around and watch construction.
probably something. Yeah, he'd do things like that. He'd be the, neighborhood watch.
Never has to buy a drink again because everyone in the community is like, you know that Sigmund? He helped me once. Yeah. So yeah, if Finest Path want it, I'm just saying we might be amenable. I say this knowing full well that the person in charge of Twitch scheduling, at least earlier, was in chat. Anyway, for the final time for now at least, reverse order. Tom, any pertinent information you would like to share?
No, just thanks again for letting me have a chance to try the system out. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Again, you can find me. Restless Barbarian Gaming is our gaming channel, and actually Rosie's going to be in a couple games coming up. So looking forward to those, and that's about it. So thanks again.
And Rosie.
Hello, I am Rosie, regular size mom. You can find me as @mom_sized or as @oddduckdice, because I make dice that make me happy. And yes, I will be doing some stuff with Restless Barbarian. I'm looking forward to that. You can catch a game of Mummy I was in on Big Dad Industries last night. It was a mess. We did some things to Rome, but we think it's okay. It might have been another timeline. And then there's some other things that I'm going to be a part of coming up. So keep an eye on my Twitter. And I hope you have a lovely day.
And Lee.
I'm Lee. I am Ipsy and or Scriftly, which you can see down below. I wrote the opening fiction to a book on the Storyteller's Vault for Changeling 20th edition called By Banner Bound, which is about banner houses for the noble houses in Changeling. It's a really great book. I worked with a wonderful team on this. I totally recommend you read it. I am now free and available for other engagements. If anyone is looking to hire a Momo-esque dynamic personality for their actual plays, I say hire like that we make money off this hobby. No, just but I can be recruited. I'm available. Just reach out to me. I'm here. I'm free. So I look forward to seeing everyone some other time. This has been such a great time. I've really enjoyed myself in this actual play, this play test, and I looking forward to when the book actually comes out.
And I'm Ryan, Comrade Bubbles, pretty much everywhere on the internet, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I do have a show on this channel. It is a fortnightly show writing community content, so if you ever thought that you might like to write community content, it's on Tuesdays at, I want to say 9 a.m. Eastern, so I appreciate it's not everyone's cup of tea. But it does all go up on YouTube after the fact. Just search Comrade Bubbles behind the screen. And my current season of the show is actually Pugmire first edition focused. I picked it so well, I started writing it, and then like 3 weeks later, the second edition was announced, and I was like, fantastic. But unfortunately, I am taking a break this week as I have deadlines to reach for some contract work. But I should be back in 2 weeks on Tuesday. If you are not already following this Twitch channel, or the YouTube channel, to be fair, if you're watching this after the fact, please do consider following twitch.tv/the Onyx Path, or subscribing to Onyx Path on YouTube. If you can afford to subscribe to the Twitch channel, obviously please do. If you do subscribe, you will get access to video on demands of all of the streams from the past week. And then they all have a week's exclusivity before members of anyone else can watch them. And you also obviously get all the emotes and stuff that you get for subscribing to a Twitch channel. If you haven't already, please do consider backing the campaign on Kickstarter. I think I typed that correctly. there we go. Please do check out Red Moon Roleplaying's Pugmire Actual Play. Again, that is Red Moon Roleplaying on YouTube. It was a fantastic way to spend about, 2 hours. 3 times 40 minutes, about 2 hours, I think. Somewhere around. Yeah, exactly 2 hours. I just want to say thank you to Twitch for watching. Thank you to Plastic Age Plays and the rest of the Onyx Path kind of Twitch team side of things for letting us have this chance to tell the story together, this opportunity to play in a world that 3 of you were unfamiliar with. And thank you to my players, because you've all been great, and this has been I'm going to say once in a lifetime opportunity, and let you decide if that's a good or a bad thing, because it's my position as the guide is to remain mysterious until the very end. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm going to let, if you are curious about the rest of the content on the channel, if you came in with the raiding party and have stuck around, 1, thank you. But 2, if you are curious about the rest of the content on the channel, I'll let a couple of rounds of the promotional graphics play, as well as the schedule. And I believe the next thing happening is about 1 hour and 10 minutes from now, and is a game of Changeling the Lost called Viva Lost Vegas, which is a fantastic name. But that's it. So please bear with me while I open OBS so I can change the scene. Goodbye, everyone.